is up, fishing friends? It is Sean, the average angler, and oh boy, what a weekend did I have. So Friday, I was starting to make a video for you. I was sitting in the boat and I was starting to prep for the Clear Lake Open, One Bass Open here where I leave next Saturday. And the video was going great, and I went to close my main tackle hatch, and the rivets broke out of the hinges, which meant then the door was kind of coming down at an angle, and I thought, great, what perfect timing. I guess the good side is it happened while I was still at home. I had all my tools. I was able to get the stuff I needed, drove down to the hardware store, got some rivets, and then found out I needed a longer rivet. They weren't long enough. Anyway, problems fixed. They came in yesterday, ordered them off Amazon, got some stainless ones, and hopefully it means I don't have to do it again. The boat's 8 years old now. And I didn't used to keep boats, but the prices have gotten so ridiculous that, we're keeping boats now. Anyway, today we are going to talk about wacky fishing in the spring, right? Very effective way to catch bass, roamers, bedding fish, or just your typical hanging out fish, right? Now, wacky rig fishing is typically in open space, right? Sort of. It could be a hole where there's a bed, but typically I like to fish it around bedding areas. Kind of fan cast around, could be docks, could be tulies, bulrushes, could be wood. And I got a variety of things here to show you, okay? We all know the typical wacky rig, which is the Senko. I know I had a pack of hooks here. There we go. All right. A finesse wide gap, Gamakatsu. This is a 1/0. I like the 1/0 for a 5-inch, 2/0 for a 6-inch, and typically great. I just dropped the hook. Hopefully not in the cat food. Anyway, typically I would put on an O-ring, right? Just because. And I'll link all this in the description for you folks. Just because it makes the worm last longer, okay? Because everything's loaded in the boat, I don't happen to have a Wacky-O tool right here. Maybe I did. Let's see. Sometimes when I'll keep them in my Senko box, which they're not in there. So I have so many of them, it's really amazing when I can't find one. This needs to go in the boat, actually. So we'll leave that out. We're not done packing completely, but we are getting there. All right, so pretty simple. Wacky rig, right? And typically, though, depending on where I'm at, if I'm on a highland reservoir and there's no grass, I'm going to probably throw it with just the open hook. Clear Lake has grass and all kinds of other things, so I will be using the weedless version of this hook, which I will put down in the description. Now, the other wacky tool are these rubber rings, and they come with some pliers. Well, you have to buy the pliers. They spread that open. This is much stronger and tends to really help things last a lot longer. They are a little more tedious to get on. But anyway, that is our 5-inch Wacky worm. Now, you can fish it on a bait caster. And here you'll see I have a Yamatanuki on here. And this rod is a 7-foot, it's called a finesse. It's a Team Iowa Tatula Elite. It's a medium heavy, okay? 1/8 to 1 ounce, 8 to 20 pound test, okay? This is 12-pound test. Now, if I'm throwing a bait caster, I will throw it on something like that. You can even go to a medium heavy because the Senko is pretty heavy, especially if you're going to use a 6-inch. But that said, the majority of time I am going to throw it on a spinning rod. And the reason being, and you'll see here, there's a Texas rigged Senko, right? But today's video is on Wacky. This is just what's tied up here, folks, so don't beat me up too much. And for those of you that don't see or haven't seen them, these new rod gloves, neoprene, I think they're the Pro Series rod gloves. They're phenomenal, man. They really protect your rods, which is important on this. This has the carbon fiber AGS guides. The setup I have here is 12-pound Sunline fluorocarbon to 15-pound I forgot. No, 12-pound Asiagi Sunline braid. Okay. The reason I prefer the spinning rod is for skipping. And this rod is a 7'4" Tatula Elite. Versatile. 7'4", right? It's a Cody Meyer rod. Ratings 8 to 20 pound braid, 3/16 to ½ ounce, medium fast. I like the spinning rod for skipping up under low-lying docks and back into things, okay? This is a little bit heavier line than I will typically throw on a spinning rod. But on this, I'm gonna throw a Texas, put the Wacky rig, right? I will also, on the same rod, the next thing I'm gonna show you, okay? Anyway, there we go. That is a Daiwa Ballistic spinning reel. I believe that is, yep, that's the 3000 size. Love that reel. We'll set that one back here. Now, the other way you can go, this is going to be a little lighter line. $7'4", 1/8 to 3 ounce, 8 to 12 pound. This is an IMX Pro. It's the Ned rod, but I like it for fishing wacky baits, okay? Now, the next one, and this is really one of my favorites, mainly because it's just not as popular, and that's the Jackal Flick Shake. Okay, this is the 5.8. The 6.8s are all loaded in the boat. And I have a variety of heads here for this. First, the Jackal Wacky Jig Head. This one I need to fish with the lighter line, okay? Don't fish this on 12-pound test. You will straighten out the hook. This is the Owner Ultra Head. Will not straighten out the hook, okay? Little stronger hook here. I can fish it up to 12-pound test. Okay? The other one I won't go over 10 because you will straighten it out. Come on. And this head here, very similar to the Ultra Head. It really kind of sucks when you can't open a dang Ziploc bag. this brand is no longer available. Okay. There are other ones, and I'll look some up and I'll link them for you. But I need to get one out. And these were called the rock crawler. And you can see short, but it's a really stout hook. Okay. This I'll fish on a bait caster, 15 to 16 pound fluorocarbon. Okay, something like a 734 medium heavy, something like that. And again, it's just wacky rig it, right? So oh boy, I can't seem to open a damn thing this morning. All right. So this is a 3/16 1/0 hook on the Ultra head. And you just take your Jackal flick shake, rig it through the egg sac, and you're good to go, right? The 3/16 is a little heavy for the 5.8. I would fish that on the 6.8. Again, I'll rig all the heads. The 1/8 ounce here is much better for the 5.8. All right. So we've done the Senko and we've done the flick shake. Now, the last technique I want to talk about is the Neko rig. Okay, a little different, and I've got several baits here I like to do it with. You need some Neko rig weights, and this one's a little big for the worms that I picked out. It's a little fat, okay, and there's a ton of different ones. You can get the screw-in type. Again, they'll be linked in the description. But I like to do this with something a little different. And this is the Yamamoto Pro Senko. Okay, much narrower, more the shape of a typical worm, but it is still a Senko. You insert a weight into the head so that worm falls like this, right? Then we get ourselves a Neko hook, and it's really kind of interesting because these have a keeper on them. And if somebody knows why, I'm assuming it's because you could also drop shot this hook. But again, the best way to fish this, there you'll see a little keeper up here. There's a fluorocarbon keeper. So this could be a good drop shot hook too, Texas rig drop shot hook. But again, you want to use the O-ring. You don't have to. We're gonna put the hook into the egg sac, kind of go in, come back out like so. Okay, so you have the weight down here and your line here. Of course, in the water, the tail will stay up and you can kind of walk it along the bottom. Just a different presentation than some of the others, right? Kind of like a shaky head, yet different. And then we have the 6-inch, okay? Again, I'm gonna go to bait casting gear for this. This happens to be the 6-inch Strike King Ocho. Again, a little different. I don't know if you can see, but they're flat. Like a octagon type shape. Yeah, too hard to see, huh? There you can kind of see the flat edges, right? Little different fall, and it has the scent. Wacky rigs are great ways to catch bedding bass. And here's one other Neko rig worm that I really like, and it's very similar to that of a flick shake, kind of, except it doesn't have the kinks in both ends. And that's the Daiwa Neko rig worm. Okay, this happens to be a 6.8, I think, 6.5. Little beefier head for putting a nail weight in there, or you can use the screw-in type. Some people like the screw-in type, some people like the nail. The only downside to the screw-in weight that I found is a lot of times when you're fighting a fish, the weight will come out. But they're effective. And somewhat easier maybe than threading a nail in. But you get different size nails. You can get tungsten. I'll list all that stuff in the description for you. Wacky rig worms are a great way to catch fish in the springtime and could possibly get you the fish of a lifetime. Spring's coming, folks. It is April. The weather's starting to turn here in Northern California, and we are going to see a warm up this week. I'm really excited to get to Clear Lake. I've got my GoPros all dialed in. Everything is ready, and hopefully we're going to bring you some great on the water content. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.